Good morning, everyone. You're watching Merritt in the Morning with Brad Klopfenstein and Jim Merritt. Jim Merritt, Brad Klopfenstein. Jim.
Good morning, Brad.
Good morning. How are you?
Hi,
This
Klopp.
is show number 9.
It is.
It seems like
And we're coming to you on Monday.
we are. It's special Monday edition. So don't think that you're already at the end of the week. It's just we've got conflicts on Thursday this week. So we did it early. We're coming to you live from Cafe Audrey at beautiful Fort Benjamin Harrison in the heart of Lawrence. They are now open. Well, they've always been open 7 days a week for breakfast and lunch. Now open Wednesdays through Saturdays for dinner. I want our guests to take note of that when you're looking for something to do for dinner.
Really noted.
They have beer and wine available. Hashtag Why I Love Lawrence and hashtag Food at the Fort. Thank you to Alpsprow Beer for being one of our sponsors. Jim's got his pen on today. I'm drinking from my mug. Available at all fine retailers. Actually, let me go back to that. Available at some fine retailers.
Soon to be all.
Yeah, soon to be all, exactly. World domination coming. So there we are. So we've gotten through all that. Again, our host, Jim Merritt, former state senator from the Lawrence and Southern Hamilton County area for 30 years. I'm Brad Klopfenstein. I'm president of the Greater Lawrence Chamber. With us today, candidate for Lawrence Common Council, Aaron Short, who's here to regale us with stories and talk about why he loves Lawrence.
Yes, thanks for having me. I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Now, this is your first time running for office.
That is correct. I'm
Yeah.
a first timer, so
Yeah.
excited to get into it.
Klopp, I think it's important that we know a little bit about Aaron and where he came from and what he does for a living, and then we can
Yes.
get on to the candidacy.
Please, Aaron, introduce yourself. I know
Great.
I've met you once. Jim's met you
That's right.
several times.
That's right. Yeah. Well, again, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Appreciate both of what you've done in the state of Indiana, support our Senate, and of course the Greater Lawrence Chamber. So I grew up on the south side of Indianapolis and in Greenwood as well. Met my wife at Indiana Wesleyan University, and then went on to law school. Enjoyed the law school experience, but decided to become a financial advisor. So I started my own investment firm a few years ago, and it's been incredible. We've got 3 kids. We've got an 11-year-old daughter, an 8-year-old boy, and a 3-year-old boy who are at various camps throughout Lawrence here this week. And my wife is getting a bit of a reprieve at home, so she appreciates that. We have lived here for about a decade, and about a year ago considered running for Lawrence Common Council and decided to make the plunge here back in May. So
What's the name of your company?
the name of my company is Geis Family Wealth. We're located just north of the lake, around Brooks School and Fall Creek Road.
I see. And I'm sure being a financial planner these days, lots of challenges because people, well, I have a friend whose mortgage was $1,400 a month payment, and now it's $2,000
Yeah,
because of interest rates,
right,
property taxes.
right.
I'm sure your clients are in kind of tired of being whipsawed right now.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you bringing that up. And, I'm really proud of the business we've developed. We help folks build their lifestyle that they want to live, work their way through retirement, and develop a legacy for their families. And we've seen, a lot of changes in the markets and in the economy over the last couple of years. Saw some articles today about, again, just changes in the economy. Obviously, federal interest rates where they are on the overnights have dramatically increased year over year over the last 18 months. And at this point, no real clear sign of subsiding. So that's impacting other areas of the economy, other areas of the markets. And frankly, it's hitting people's paycheck. It's hitting their pockets. And I think that's one of the reasons why in my decision and thinking a lot about what kind of value could I add to the Lawrence Common Council in our community, I hope to bring a perspective of financial soundness, fiscal responsibility, and economic intuition to the table and do what we can to help people.
Clark, that's good. We need that on the Common Council. We need that in our public servants. And you've got 3 kids, and one isn't in school yet. Where are the others two? Where do the other 2 go to school?
Yeah, great, and appreciate you asking. So we actually homeschool our kids, and by we, mostly my wife. I can't take too much credit.
Boy, that's a big commitment.
It is, and she's incredible. I support her 100%. She's a former educator by background, and a few years ago, we just decided to make the plunge to just be a little bit more engaged in our household for our families. Listen, I'm a big supporter of school choice. I think a lot of people need to have that flexibility. We have incredible schools here in Lawrence through the Lawrence Township school system. There's a lot of great schools in the state of Indiana, but ultimately, I've always appreciated what the General Assembly has done to provide flexibility for families like mine and like others to give us the options to be able to provide the kind of education most beneficial for our kids. So yeah, we homeschool, and it's been a good fit for us.
That's good.
So we're going to start off with a softball question.
All right, let's hear it.
Why do you love Lawrence?
Great question. Great question. Listen, we came to Lawrence about a decade ago when we were looking at a place to call home. We got married. We lived at various parts throughout the city and enjoyed Indianapolis in general. But one day we were driving through Lawrence and started looking around, and we realized there's some really cool things happening here. We were seeing that this is a vibrant community. We saw a lot of lots throughout the community, a lot of commercial areas that were in construction. So our perspective was, hey, if we're seeing, construction, we're seeing high rises, that's got to mean something good. It's got to mean that there's economic development coming into Lawrence. So we love Lawrence. We love our restaurants. We love our community. But honest to God, one of the reasons why we really just nailed down Lawrence is because we realize the diversity in our community. Roughly a third of our community are African-American. We've got about 15% of our community that are Hispanic and Latino. And we decided that we really wanted to raise our children in an environment that would be able to provide a lens into that kind of diversity, not to mention some of the socioeconomic diversity that we've seen here throughout the broader Lawrence area. I'd argue this is probably one of the most diverse areas in all of the state of Indiana, and we are really proud of that. It's exciting to be part of.
You learned well from our first meeting. That's my elevator pitch.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I took a couple of notes from you, Brad.
So, I mean, just in the last week, I look at what we've had going on here. We had the traveling Vietnam Memorial Wall that was over here on Lawton Loop, just a couple blocks away. That was really cool for our viewers who did not get an opportunity to come out for that. It's a half-size replica of the wall out in Washington, D.C. It went on, they set it up Thursday, so it was on display Thursday night through Sunday night. They had on Saturday, they had kind of a formal program, but they flew Medal of Honor recipient Samuel Davis in on a Huey helicopter. I think he lives down, I believe, in Freedom, Indiana, which how Freedom, Indiana is not the epicenter of the universe, I don't know, but
That's right.
But they flew him in from Freedom, landed him on the parade grounds. Lots of dignitaries there, lots of veterans. It was very cool. I don't know if you guys made it out, but it was neat to have that. The Lawrence Farmers Market was last Thursday. Obviously, there's lots of building that's going on here at the fort. So yeah, you hit the nail on the head on what all's happening in Lawrence, and
We have a vibrant community.
We do.
And it's growing and it's developing, and I'm really excited to be part of it. And it's a great place to call home, no doubt.
You know who we're sponsored by?
let me go to the slide. There we go. Let's see. That's Merritt in the morning. We are sponsored by Alpsprout beer.
Yes, we are.
That's not really an Alpsprout. It's a Diet Coke, but it's in an Alpsprout cup.
It's Monday morning.
It is.
Exactly. So
We're not judging.
And we are at Cafe Audrey in the fort.
we are. So thank you, Cafe Audrey. Thank you, Tammy, for hosting us every other week. Yeah, this is a great
Coming to
setting.
you on a special Monday morning.
Yes. So thank you for watching. You guys are all getting back to work.
Mhm.
Now, so 4th of July is next week. How many people do you think are taking this bagging this week and next?
I would think that a lot of people are quote, unquote, bagging. I think they're taking vacation time, probably a lot of next week,
Mhm.
because 4th of July comes in the middle of the week, but the 4th of July parade is very special here.
Yeah, it is.
There's no question about it.
It is.
Will
So-
you be marching?
Unfortunately, we will not be in town this coming weekend. We have some family coming in from some other parts of the state, but really excited about, yes, the 4th of July parade.
Mhm.
We've got, it seems like it's going to be a really nice parade.
Yeah, I always enjoy being a member of the Senate, and one of the duties is to, in that role is to march in the 4th of July parade. And the funny thing is they come down Richard, and then you come over 46th Street, and then you go up Franklin Road, and you'd see the same people Both north-south streets.
That's
All
right.
right, so,
It's for the kids, right?
yeah, my big yellow truck is gonna be in there for the Chamber of Commerce entry this year. We have a giant inflatable Uncle Sam. I'm gonna have to look for that. We've been in the parade a couple times. I've not been specifically looking for the same faces twice, but yeah, given that route, you're right. It's fairly easy for them to bop
Oh,
over
yeah.
2 blocks.
And God love them, you know?
Yeah.
We were here last year, and kids, one side of the street grabbed a bunch of candy, ran to the other side of the street, grabbed more candy.
Yeah.
It's part of it.
What's your campaign consist of right now? Are you going door to door or?
Yeah, spend a lot of time going door to door, and really the reason why is I believe that's one of the most effective ways for me to learn what's most important to our constituents. I believe in that process. I believe in trying to get out there and understand where people are hurting, what they're excited about, and just where they're at. So yeah, spending a lot of time out there door knocking.
What is something that you hear over and over from door to door? Is the conditions of the economy, is it starting to reach people?
Yeah.
Meaning the inflation oriented with all different parts, factors in the economy.
Yeah, great question. Hearing a lot from people. Probably two things that I would hit on is one, I believe it's a great opportunity to really help people understand what the Common Council does in small local governments. There's a lot of things we can do, and there's a lot of things that really just aren't related to the work of small cities and towns. So it's really just trying to help people understand what we can and can't do. Obviously, our road systems are very important to people. We want to make sure that we're paving these roads, make sure we've got a first-class infrastructure system, stormwater drainage, those kinds of issues. But you're absolutely right about the economy. Inflation is hitting people's pockets. We've got inflation right now ticking around the 6% range, which historically is somewhat average, but we've come out of an environment where inflation has been at 2.5% to 3%. So we've gotten used to prices feeling moderate, but then again, you go down to the Kroger off of Fall Creek and drop a couple $100 for groceries, and it's expensive.
It hits you. No
It hits
question
you.
about
It hits everybody across every aspect of life.
Let me ask, because you're out campaigning, how many people understand the difference between the Lawrence Common Council and the Indianapolis City County Council? And how long does it take you to explain that?
Brad, great question, and I really appreciate you asking that. It's so important that we understand Indianapolis is such a dynamic city when it comes to the way that we're formed and the way our government is formed. We have an overlapping Unigov system where many pockets of our community are its own cities. So we've got cities in Indianapolis like Lawrence, like Speedway, like Beech Grove that are their own independent cities, but yet overlapping that is the broader Indianapolis city county government. So I always like to think of it, as I explain to people, 2 levels of government here at the local level, where we get the opportunity to be represented by folks, hopefully like me, if I become elected this November on our Lawrence Common Council, and at the same time represented by people at the city county level. Folks like Natalie Goodwin running for city county council here in the broader Indianapolis area. Really excited about her campaign as well. So I always call it a twofer for folks here in Lawrence. You get twofers. You get the opportunity to be represented by 2 different folks.
Yeah, Klopp, I being in the Senate, I talk to all of our members a lot, and one of our members was in line at the grocery, and the person in front of him said, well, "Why aren't you in Washington?" And he'd answer that question so much. He just looked at his watch and said, "I'm going to be on the next flight in a couple hours."
Well, and it's a great question. I understand why people don't quite get it, right? Like it is a bit confusing.
It is,
but that's the beauty of the American system is that we have so many layers of representation. And you think about folks like you who served for a number of years at the state level, and just so appreciate what you've done at that state level, and then of course those federal levels as well. So I think it's one of the great things about the American system is that we have representation.
So I got a quick sidebar story, just because you guys will think that
we got to hear it.
Especially,
So
Thursday, when I was getting ready for the Traveling Vietnam Memorial Wall, I live on Lawton Loop and I'm on the board over there. So I had a lot to do with the coordination of making that happen. Well, I stopped by, talked to some of the volunteers who were setting up, and they're like, "Yeah, Mike Braun's going to be here on Saturday." I'm like, "That's interesting. I hadn't heard that." So I was going to put out just like a little announcement press release. I'm like, I better contact Braun's office just to make sure. So I contacted, sent an email, got a call Friday afternoon from I think the guy in charge of his press, said, yeah, we don't know anything about this. It's like, did somebody commit to this? Have you got an email? I'm like, no, there were just a couple volunteers there that said Mike Braun's going to be here. I figured that I would confirm this. I'm glad I did. Thank you very much. I get there for the ceremony on Saturday afternoon, and it was a retired colonel who was kind of the MC, and he goes, I would like to bring up Deacon Mike Braun for our invocation today.
That's great.
Like,
that's great.
Yeah. So part of a little confused on exactly who it's going to be. The name was right.
The name was right. Yeah.
So, all right. So back to Lawrence. What do you consider Lawrence's 3 biggest advantages, and what are our 3 biggest challenges?
Yeah, great
Into the
question.
future.
And that's 6 different things. So bear with me as I try to navigate this. But listen, I think our greatest opportunities is we have an incredible economic development strategy. You know, you think about our talented and tech savvy skills workforce. You know, we've got an incredible workforce, and businesses that are abroad or businesses throughout the United States should look to a place like Lawrence as a massive opportunity. We've got the workforce, we've got the infrastructure, we've got proximity to an incredible statewide interstate system, first class.
By fall, we'll be able to use it.
Yeah, that's good point there. Good point there. Yeah. You know, we've got an incredible airport. So it's those kinds of things that make, I believe, Lawrence a prime opportunity to bring in even more economic development opportunities, as well as the tax and incentive structures on that front. So I think that's one thing that I would definitely highlight. Number 2 is that quality of life. Listen, we've got the quality of life necessary to help families thrive. We have an incredible school system. You know, I think about all of our elementary schools. I think about some of the dynamic things going on there, and the uniqueness of each one of them. You got Forest Glen offering Spanish and immersion opportunities for.
It's a great program.
It's a great program. Various schools. You've got Skiles Test. You've got so many other schools that are catering to helping students thrive in the next few decades. So I think that's one thing that I would highlight, as well as you know, it's just a fun place. You know, we've got great restaurants like Cafe Audrey.
Exactly.
quick plug there. But again, we love it from the perspective of quality of life that we have, and that individuals have the opportunity to enjoy. I think some of the biggest challenges that we face in Lawrence specifically, I would say we have a very unique window in ensuring that our city progresses in the right way. You know, cities are expensive to maintain. Infrastructure is expensive to maintain. Culture is vital to the thriving of our community. And I want to make sure that we have a community that thrives. And part of that is making sure that we take a look at this upcoming election, and we're wise about the individuals that we bring into public office who, one, get it, who understand the issues related to our city, and aren't necessarily distracted by outside influences or issues that really, frankly, don't matter as much at the city level. So I think it's really important that we take a look at this upcoming election and we're wise about the decisions we're making. I think that's one of the opportunities that I see, or one of the challenges that I see. And then I'm just going to go with number 2, and maybe we can wrap it on the challenges here. But I think some of the challenges we face here in Lawrence aren't necessarily unique to Lawrence. I firmly believe that American life right now, you talk to people throughout our state, you talk to people throughout our country, and the reality is, you know, people are, we're divided. You know, we're divided as a country. There's no doubt about that. We are exhausted as a country. We're frustrated. And I believe we are at a moment in American life where we are starting to lose heart as a nation. And I believe it's very important that folks, that this new generation, this next generation of leaders rise up to be able to stand and represent a sense of values of unity, integrity, common sense leadership, basic stuff that helps cities progress and move forward.
You're spot on with that last challenge, and every community, every state is really hopefully rising to that challenge, because it really is the fabric of our society, Club. Really is.
Yeah.
What, you know, when we look at Lawrence over the last 30 years or so, we've looked at, the idea of moving Lawrence into Fort Harrison
Mhm.
and being really the seat, if you will, the county or the city seat of Lawrence, and right, we're in the shadow of a new library over here. The growth of Lawrence in the positives in the services in the restaurants is so very important to someone like yourself that is going to be on the Common Council. Tell us about the district that you are working to represent, and how many constituents come in are in a district, and what what are you hearing, and just the idea of who are you going to represent?
Yeah, great question. So Lawrence is a city of about 55,000 people, and don't quote me on that pinpointed number, but give or take.
You're close, give or take a
Yeah,
couple thousand.
Give or take
Yes.
a couple thousand, right? And we want more. So people move here. We're a great city.
Expand the tax base.
That's right. So we got about 55,000 folks. We have 9 total members on the Lawrence Common Council. 9 total members. Now we have 6 Common Council members who represent the 6 districts of Lawrence. There are 6 districts in Lawrence. Then we have 3 at-large district representatives. So 3 at-large council members. I'm seeking for Common Council seat in district number 6. District number 6.
So who represents that right now?
So that's Lauren Russell. She's an incredible member of our Lawrence Common Council, a wonderful woman who has done a great job of representing our city with a sense of integrity. And I really appreciate that. And I hope to carry that mantle. She's decided to retire, for lack of better descriptions, and pursue other things in life. So really proud of her work, and hopefully we get the opportunity to carry that mantle. And so District 6 is roughly about 8,000 citizens. So children, voters, elderly individuals as well. So across the gamut.
I see.
So geographically, whereabouts is that?
Yeah, great question. So geographically, District 6 is just north of 75th Street, around going up to 82nd Street, and cutting over there by around Indian Lake, and
Is the western border of Shadeland, or
the western border does not go as far as Shadeland. It's closer to Indian Lake,
Okay.
Indian Lake Road, and
I see,
right
I see.
there, just south of 79th Street by the Kroger.
I see.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a geographical thing. So
Well, yeah,
feel free to
and it changes.
In fact, it
more
just
so.
changed. It just changed. So those individuals who are trying to figure out what district they live in, if you have questions, do not hesitate to reach out to me, to our folks, and we can help you understand how to vote, where to vote, and what your district looks like.
Nice. Okay.
So what is your vision for Lawrence?
Mhm.
If you were king and could say, all right, here's what we're gonna do. What is Lawrence gonna look like 10 years from now?
Yeah, great. So first off, never want to be king of anything. And
Exactly.
I'm not interested in that
That's
job.
yours, Jim.
Yeah, everybody's gonna get caffeinated here.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in that job, but what I will say is I want to focus on, as I've said before to you, Brad, is 3 things: economic development, and economic development. Because I believe that many things tie back to that. If we can have the right economic development strategy, then many other issues fall in line. What I'm talking about is continued development, the way that we've seen, but continue to grow. So you take a look at this beautiful new Keystone Group project that's coming in, 250 or so upscale condos, apartment units, beautiful property. You take a look at the Fort Harrison area and you see all the development that we've seen. Listen, I want to double that. I want to double that over the next decade. And I also think that we can expand it as well. You take a look at the what's going on in Pendleton Pike. I want to see continued development there. You take a look at Oak Landing Road and what could be an economic corridor for small businesses to thrive. You've got some great hair salons. You've got other types of businesses there that can really excel from the traffic that comes in and out of there. So I really want to make sure that we're focusing on economic development. And with that come good people, again, talented tech savvy workers who get it, that provides an elevation of our tax base from a property tax value, from an income tax value. And those are the kinds of things that I want to be able to pass on to our first responders, right? Some of the most important and vital aspects of our community that represent, our police, our fire, our EMTs that are critical to ensure that we have a safe, clean community that can thrive. So I believe, again, that economic development provides the infrastructure for a thriving and vibrant community.
You're watching Merritt in the Morning with your host, Jim Merritt. I'm Brad Klopfenstein. Our guest today is Aaron Short. He's running for Lawrence Common Council. I'm going to ask you a district-specific question. So 79th Street, as it runs by the Kroger, that effectively is 82nd Street, Castleton, and 86th Street, and Nora, and runs the gamut of the county.
Yeah.
But it stops at Sunnyside Road.
Yes.
And then picks up at Oklaman Road and continues on in Hancock County.
Yeah.
How would you feel about joining the two ends of that as an extension between Oklaman and Sunnyside? I know Jim worked to get funding and approval for that 20 years ago, and then it never happened.
Yeah. So I love the idea of being able to provide some fluidity there. Listen, we've all been stuck in traffic for 20 minutes on the hill by Kroger. Okay. We've all experienced that. On my way to work, on my way to take kids to and from. We've all got stuck there. So I can definitely see the value of trying to provide that thoroughfare that runs directly through that 79 there by White's Ace Hardware. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I want to hear and I want to understand the concerns and the desires of constituents that specifically live right there on what would be either side of that. So before I jump in to say, hey, yeah, we got to do this thing, I really think it's important that I go out there and try to better understand what those citizens and those residents that are living in those houses that would border a street like that, I'd love to know what they think about that. I think they should be really excited about that. I think they should be desire the opportunity to bring in some traffic there. At the same time, I just want to make sure we're really understanding that. So that's what I'm going to be doing this summer, going out there and specifically talking to a lot of those residents along that corridor, or what would be that corridor, to understand where their thoughts are, and we'll do what we can to make something like that happen within reason.
Well, it was a pleasure having Dave Hoffman as a guest on our show, and his enthusiasm for Lawrence it's contagious. Yeah. And his having a law enforcement background will be just a terrific asset for the city of Lawrence, as well as you're a trained lawyer. I think that is going to benefit you a great deal when it comes to being a city of common council member. And I think that the only way that Lawrence grows is through its council and its ability to not only understand their constituents, but understand where the direction needs to go in the way of growth. And you touched on it, infrastructure.
Yeah,
so very important in Lawrence. And one of the major assets in Lawrence is water.
Yeah.
And the utilities water utilities run very well right now. Yeah. Klopp and Aaron. And I think it's important for someone like yourself to understand, really what are the benefits of Lawrence and what are the benefits for the constituents.
Yeah. So just hitting real quick on Dave Hoffman, an incredible individual. I am so excited about Dave Hoffman. I'm so excited about Dave's campaign. I'm so excited what he represents. We were talking about a man of integrity, a man who gets it, a man who has the experience necessary to help this city thrive and continue on the legacy of Mayor Steve Collier, who's done a fantastic job of helping us get where we are. So yeah, absolutely. Dave Hoffman is my guy, and really excited to get out there and help him, carry on the mantle. as far as water, were you gonna say something?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, as far as water, you're absolutely right. We gotta have a clean water system, and I always followed your legislation in the State House on the Utilities Committee, and our water system is truly and literally the lifeblood of our community.
Water is life. There's no
Water is
question
life,
about it.
right? And in the future, as we look over the next couple of decades with, changes in dynamics to our earth, it's important that we safeguard our water system. So absolutely, and our stormwater system is part of that. I'll give you a quick anecdote, quick story. I had a great client of mine, a wonderful woman who I've served for a number of years. Her husband passed away a couple years ago, a recent widow. She was driving down the street in Lawrence, and the stormwater drainage system had backed up and had flooded the street just a little bit. So it was covering up potholes. And unfortunately, as she was driving down the street, she hit one of these potholes so hard that it burst her tire and it burst the rim or her actual wheel, right? Unfortunately, this widow had to go get that tire and rim fixed, and it cost her almost half of her Social Security
Fixed
paycheck,
incomes.
right? Fixed income. So going back to, the economic questions, those are the kinds of things that we've got to make sure that we're getting right. Because when a poor widow is spending half her Social Security check on fixing a wheel, those are the kinds of things that we want to make sure that we're preventing. Easy things that we can fix, but we've got to be able to focus on the things that are causing that, which stormwater being one of those.
Yeah. Now, Jim, you mentioned Indianapolis, or not Indianapolis, but Lawrence and our water utility. Shout out to Scott Salisbury, who's done a great
He's the
job.
best.
Yeah.
And he's been there for a long time, and the knowledge and the wisdom of Scott, he understands water. There's
Yep.
no question about it.
Oh,
Very, very
the
lucky.
water savant. Yeah, I'm excited. I get to pull out the big chamber scissors Thursday
That's
morning.
right.
We are cutting the ribbon on the new Fort Harrison water treatment plant
Yeah.
over on 59th at Lee Road. So
That is a big deal.
yeah,
And water is so very important. You just look at the project, the LEAP project up in Lebanon on 65.
Mhm.
And they're possibly having to pipe water down from Lafayette.
Wow.
And this is the largest economic development project ever. And water is a significant part of it becoming reality. And so that's really the reason why I brought the water up, is it's a hidden asset that people really don't really quantify.
It's
when it
easy to
comes-
take for granted.
Yes, very much so. And Klopp, we ask a lot of our public servants. Mayor Steve Collier, terrific teacher, wonderful coach at Lawrence North, and has really set us up for the future as mayor. And I think we're all going to miss Steve. We're obviously going to be in great hands with Dave Hoffman. We're going to be in great hands with Aaron Short. And I'm just happy that Aaron took a little bit of his time because, in public service, most public servants that I know have a business or employed somewhere else. It's more volunteer than anything else. And we're just really, really lucky to have Aaron putting his very best foot forward for us today, as well as the campaign, which will tax his family. There's no question about it. And service is taxing as well. But I'm really glad you were able to be here today.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And you're right. My wife and I spent a lot of time thinking and praying about, was this the right decision for our family? And again, I think it's one of those things where the reality is America, again, is at a tipping point. And I believe if we don't take the time to deeply consider the consequences of not stepping up and at least trying to serve. Listen, I don't have all the answers. There is so much I need to learn to be an effective leader and public servant. But at the same time, I think I've experienced a few things in life that make me well equipped and qualified to provide some value to our community. And I'm just at a point in life where I know that if we as young guys don't get out here and try to do something for good for our community, we're going to look back and we're going to miss out. We're going to regret not trying to contribute for the good of our community. So, not just Lawrence, but in great towns and cities across the state of Indiana, we've got to have young folks, men and women stepping up and trying to provide some value for their community. That's what I hope to do. So truly appreciate both of you having me on the show
You're
today.
welcome.
Excited for what you guys are doing.
Aaron, thank you.
Thank you.
So you have been watching Merritt in the Morning with your hosts, Jim Merritt and Brad Klopfenstein. Our guest today has been Aaron Short, running for Lawrence Common Council, District number 6.
You got it. You got it.
So if you're in the northeast corner of Lawrence, so north of 75th, east of effectively the Kroger
Yeah, you
on
got it.
Fall Creek Road, all the way over to the county line, that's his district.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to Cafe Audrey's for being our host. They're great people. Tammy's been walking around here. Kelly is our server today because we're here on a Monday. Thank you all for watching on a Monday. Thank you to Alpsprow Beer for being our sponsor. That reminds me, the Lawrence, our Lawrence Chamber. Tonight, we are having our after hours over at Indian Lake Country Club from 4 to 7 p.m. They have Alpsprow on tap there, so feel free to stop by and have a beer. So any parting thoughts?
Another one in the books.
There we go. So upcoming guests, I know we have John DeLucia,
Mhm.
who's running for Fisher City Council.
Yes, we're gonna have Greg Doyle on.
Oh,
from the
I'm excited about that
Star.
one. I'm excited about both.
And
Yeah.
we've just got a whole host of interesting people that are gonna be filling out July and August.
All right. Well, thank you all for watching.
Great.
Thanks, Aaron. We will see you in a couple weeks right back here at Cafe Audrey's.